I feel God's glory when I'm out in his field, when I'm out in his creation, being a steward of what he's given me, watching things grow. Either you're certifiably insane or you have really strong faith, because in a few weeks or this next week, I'm going to take $1 million worth of inputs and throw them out there in the field and hope they grow. And we take that little seed and we bury it 2 inches in the ground, and it's been sitting in a bag or a box for a year or two, and it's got life in it, but it dies and then the life grows out of it. I mean, what more is it a representation of faith?
A legacy lives on forever, and the legacies of America's rural communities deserve to be memorialized and shared with great joy. Together, these stories reveal a beautiful tradition of hard work, perseverance, and love. Big Iron Auctions is proud to share your legacy. We head to Lexington, Illinois this week to meet a farm family that owes everything to faith and a dad who flew over 100 combat missions during World War II.
Faith was very important. I grew up going to church before I was even born because my folks were going to church and still go to the same church that they took me to when I was growing up. My dad's faith, he said, was good, but it became really strong when he was in World War II. He was a pilot and he flew over 100 combat missions. And he said it wasn't any doings of his, but only by the grace of God that he came back. So he always, said he didn't know anybody could farm and not have faith because we don't have control over much of anything, the weather or the markets or anything else. So he loved the Lord and he loved the land, and he passed that on to me. I was born and raised on this farm, and we moved back here in 2008 after my dad passed away in 2006, and moved back here on the farm. We farm corn and beans and do some trucking here in Central Illinois.
Ron and I met at East White Oak Bible Church. I was a sophomore at Illinois State University, and a friend of mine was attending East White Oak, and so she brought me out there. And she said, "This is a really good church. I think you'll like it."
So my friend brings her over and wanted to introduce her to me, and she said, "This is my friend Chris, and she's probably going to start coming to church here, and this is my friend Ron, and his face is red because he's a farmer. He's out in the sun a lot, but my face was probably red because I was very embarrassed to be meeting this very very lovely young lady."
Ron is very authentic. He's real sincere in what he says, and he's a very faithful guy. He loves the Lord, and he loves his family, and he loves farming. He loves to be outside, and he's very consistent in what he does.
Well, we're in our shop. We built this in 2014. We really needed space. We didn't have a shed big enough to put most equipment in to work on in the winter. It was basically built for working on equipment and stuff, but it's kind of turned into as you can see, our grandkids have kind of taken it over. They come out here and play all the time. My oldest grandson loves to pitch. We built him a pitcher's mound. He comes out here and batting practice and pitches. And it's a great family area. We have most of our parties here, Christmas parties, family gatherings, class reunions. We've had a lot of things here, and the grandkids love to be here, so it's a lot of fun here.
Well, it's amazing because the kids love to be out in the country, because kids love the outdoors, and they love to explore, and they love wide open spaces, and they love to just play and run and yell, and you don't have to tell them to be quiet, and you don't have to tell them to stay in their own yard.
Yeah, the kids love to come out to the farm, love to ride on the machinery just like I did when I was little. They love to be involved in any capacity. The older ones now are able to help with mowing the yard, cleaning out the grain bins, cleaning up the livestock in the barn.
It's pretty incredible. I think I took it for, growing up on a farm, I took it for granted what you can do on the farm. So be able to bring our kids from town out, and Ron and Chris are amazing, and they don't limit it just to our kids. They bring their friends out, and they share the animals and the crops and tractor rides with them too.
You have so many people that aren't able to be with their kids or their grandkids, and to be able, it's part of our legacy too, to pass on to them the love of the land, the love of the Lord, and just show them, what doing life is. Well, it's a 1972 4020. It hasn't been restored. It's actually a functional tractor. We used it, matter of fact, 2 weeks ago. We were unloading grain bins at one of our other farms, running an auger with it. So I've had it since about 1980. I've had multiple 4020s, 4320s, but I always wanted one of the older ones. So Deere made about 180,000, I think, of these 4020s between 63 and 72. And I wanted one of the newest ones, and I found this one in 1980. A friend of mine had it for sale, and it's not very many from the very last one ever made on the serial number. So this is my one antique, I guess. It's hard to think it's an antique because it's old like me, but it's what I spent a lot of hours on growing up on. Spent a lot of hours driving a 4020 and a 4320 back when we did a lot of tillage. Well, 95% of the farms are still farmed by family farms. Maybe multiple generations, maybe cousins or nephews or whatever that farm together, but it's still a family farm. And it's a lifestyle, it is a life. When you're a farmer, it's a business, and you have to run it like a business, because if you don't, you're not going to be around very long. But it also is a lifestyle. You are a farmer, and most people have the heart of a farmer if they farm very long.
Very proud to be involved in the farm, family operation that's now been passed down through the generations. I take a lot of pride in carrying on the legacy of my grandfather and my father, and hopefully maybe someday passing that on to the next generation of my children.
Legacy is not just the money or the land. To me, that's the smallest part of it. It's that leaving what my dad left to me, the character and the ability to treat people fairly, to look a guy square in the eye and shake his hand, and to be a man, and to work hard, and at the end of the day say, I did the best I could.